Hello and welcome back to the House of Langford channel. You can find me on Instagram under the House of Langford as well as Overall Sews, and if you're on Ravelry you can also find me as Mad X Stitcher, where I can log all of my whips and my projects on crochet and knitting. So if you're interested in that, head over there and you'll see all my project pages with all of my projects. So it's been a busy month. We're now in March. February has been a whirlwind. We've had half term in the middle where I've taught 4 classes and I just haven't stopped. So I have quite a few makes to show you, which is a bit better than January, right? Because there was only about, what, 5? So this month I've got quite a few more for you. So first off, we're going to look at, what should I show you first? Let's check my list. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is some pendants I made for a class, which I then taught in February half term. They are made with a base of wire, and then woven onto that wire frame are beads. So the first one I did was this very simple piece. It's just a couple of loops on a piece of wire bent into form the shape. And then I've attached a bead with some wire in the middle, and I'll put a picture up a bit close up so you can see the detail because my camera does not focus. The next one I did was this piece, which is a spiral. Again, I've just made a spiral in the wire, and then what I've actually done with all of these is hammered them to give them a little bit more stability and strengthen the wire up a bit, but it also gives it this nice texture. And then that one's just got Labradorite chips woven around the edge. So those are the 2 main ones that I taught in the lesson. And then the other one, which was to show them how it could be developed, was this one. So again, it's just a loop on either end of the wire, which I've bent into a shape. And then what I've done is woven seed beads around the base of the frame, so it looks like it's trapped all of those seed beads in the bottom. So that was really a nice lesson to teach, actually. So because I couldn't find my steel block for the lesson, the one we did in the lesson, we did hammer it, but we didn't quite get the same finish. So this one has been hammered, but not as heavily as the other one. You can see that one is thinner than the other. So that is the one I did in the lesson with all my other students. And everyone did really well, actually. I can put a picture up here of all the finished makes that they did. One of the girls actually made 3 of the first piece, so 3 of this one, in order to make a set of earrings and a large piece to make a pendant, so that it was a matching set, which was really sweet. And she had her dad helping her as well. And then the other 4 ladies made at least 2, maybe 3 different ones, so there was a slight difference in each of them, which was really nice. And they all chose different beads out of the seed beads to work with, or the chips, so that was really nice to work with. Okay, so that class was done at the craft shed in Basildon, and I also did 2 bunting classes and a cross stitch intro class as well. I will put all the bunting pictures at the end of this podcast so that you can see them all, because there's far too many to show. But here is the one that I made myself as an example for all my girls. This was a children's class, and they came along with their parents or an adult to supervise them and help them cut out and use the iron, etc, etc. And we had a really lovely time. It was absolutely manic, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So yeah, this is the set that I made, which was Peter Rabbit fabric, using fabrics that Claire had already there, and just really enjoyed it. I love using the 3 different shapes as well for the flags, because that makes them all different, and the girls were able to choose each shape that they wanted to use. So some of them just used the triangle, some of them used the one that goes down and then a point at the bottom, and it was really nice to see everybody working differently. So whilst I was at the craft shed for half term, I decided to finish off a couple more pieces. So the first one was this mug rug. Now, a mug rug, if you don't know, is it's like a giant coaster, but it's made of fabric, and the idea is that you can put your coffee cup or your teacup on top, and you can have some biscuits on there, and then if it gets dirty or grubby, you just bung it in the wash and it's ready to go again when it's dry. So I've just used scrap fabrics from a little scrap box that I've got, stitched them straight onto a piece of wadding, and then I've just backed it with a plain blue. So all I had to do with that was put the lining on, put the backing on, and then turn it through and stitch around the outside. So that was one thing I finished. The other thing I finished was another one of these zippy pouches. Now, you may have seen quite a few of these because Emma and I made, what was it, 16? And then I cut out loads of fabrics ready to make some more, but never really got round to it. And then I just sat at the cafe with my sewing machine and just whipped this one up. I have got several more that need to be done though. So this is just a different type of fabric. And this was a class that we took at the Knitting and Stitching show, but I can't remember whether it was, I think it was Ali Pali. Yes, Ali Pali. So that would have been October. And yeah, it's just really, really quick make, which is great, especially when you're using scraps or fat quarters. The one behind me, this one just uses the scraps that we had from the first lot of fabrics that we used, and they were just strips of fabric, so I put them all together to make another one. So they're really good for stash busting. And even better for little gifts. So in February we also have Valentine's Day. Now I left it right up until the last minute because, to be honest, there were other things on my mind, and we'd already planned to do Valentine's during the half-term week. But I couldn't just not do anything for him, so I made him a little plushie out of felt. And my year 7s are currently making felt worry monsters, and the idea kind of came from them really. But I'm a bit of a Pikachu Pokemon nerd, so it had to be a Pikachu. And he's made of felt, so 2 layers of yellow felt. I've then got some brown pieces I've stitched for his ears and his tail. He's got a lovely bright pink heart. He's got a pink tongue, and then 2 rosy red cheeks, as well as the eyes. They're all attached separately, and everything else is just hand stitched. And then on the back it's just plain, and I've written I choose you with this year's date on it. So he's already told me though he wants a ribbon on it so that he can hang it up, because it's just a plushie. But it means that he can actually see it all the time, so that's something I need to do this weekend really. That's next on my list. Okay, so there is another thing that I made whilst I was at the cafe over half term, and this is kind of just a finishing off task. I taught this as a class prior to half term, so I'll put some of the pictures up from that at the end, and I got majority of it done but didn't have any lining with me, so it has now been lined. And you may have seen this fabric before because I made a cushion for my parents before Christmas. So this is a little drawstring bag for my mum, and I think she'll be getting this on Mother's Day. I just need to find some little gifts to put in it. And then obviously, as usual, I've got my little label, oh there we go, on the side, that way up because you can actually read it that way. And then I've just put some red ribbon through it. It's not my usual size. I think I've made this a little bit smaller than I normally do. It's just a nice little bag, and it was so quick to make. It's also quilted. Not sure if you can see the quilted lines on there. So that will be going off to my mum. She did buy the fabric a few years ago now, so it's only right that she get this one as well. Okay, so in half term I also visited BTHQ, which is run by Claire McInnes. I'll put all the details for these places in the description for you below. And I decided that on a Friday I needed to go and do something for me, so I went and did the dot mandala class, and I rather like it. Maybe I need to do some more of these. Anyway, it is using acrylic paints, and what we actually used is some I think the nail art tools to get the really small dots, and then we used the bottom flat ends of plastic crochet hooks to get the bigger dots. Angie is a great teacher. It's very calming, and even though I'm not very good at following instructions, it still looks pretty good, so I'm very pleased with it. I think if I wasn't going to do anything else with it, I would have preferred to have the heart a little bit higher on the plaque, but actually where it sits, I can drill 2 holes in it at work and I can put some cord in it to hang it up. So I think that's going to look really nice hung up on the wall somewhere. I just need to find some wall space because I'm clearly running out of it. Okay, so I have 2 more sewing makes and I have one that is actually a crochet finish. Yay, I have a finish, an FO. It has been a long time, let me tell you. This has been my WIP project, my work in progress project for quite some time now, and it is finally finished, so I get to show it off to you. But first off, I'm going to go through the 2 sewing projects that I've done, and then we'll move on to the crochet. So first off, I got this really cute fabric from Dunelm. It is Little Cheapies, and I've just made this really cute little project bag. I've only done a small box in at the bottom because I wasn't sure how short it was going to look afterwards. And what I've actually done is put the label far too low, so I need to revisit my instructions. Not my instructions, I did this all from my head. Visit my... Well, they are instructions. I wrote instructions for myself. Visit those and work out how far up that needs to go because it's a bit small, a bit short. So it's just zippy at the top, grey lining inside. I think it's probably the perfect size for some sock knitting, but I'm not a sock knitter, so I need to make a bigger one. We shall see. Watch this space. I am hoping to make quite a few more and then put them up for sale. So if you are interested in a cute little sheepy bag, I do have quite a bit of fabric. I think I only bought, did I buy 2 meters? I might have bought 2. Might have been 1. I can't remember. But there we go. Yeah, so I have quite a bit of fabric of that left over, and I already have 1 more cut out ready to go. I just need to then sit down and quilt it, obviously. It does have quilting lines, so it's nice and squidgy. So anyone looking for a sock knitting bag, here is one. Okay, the next one I did was a bigger project bag because obviously that one is a little bit small for me. And this one is going to be a gift. Now I'm going to show you the back first. And it is Harry Potter fabric. Now I think I got this fabric either from Hobbycraft or from Aldi. I can't really remember. But you can see I've quilted the back. It's got a brown base on it, and I've put a little handle on this one this time so that you can put your hand in there and hold onto it. And then I've just attached a little charm to the zipper at the top. And if I spin it around, this took me about 4 or 5 hours to complete. But I think it was worth it. You let me know. I haven't done paper piecing for a very long time. Oh, the colour's gone. There we go. I haven't done paper piecing for a very long time, and I couldn't resist this butterfly. I joined an exchange this month, which was bees, butterflies and birds. And when I saw the pattern for this, I had to do it. I've used the Harry Potter fabric for the wings. So there's a red version and then the purple version, and all of them are, say, mischief managed, with lots of little icons and symbols from the books and the films, and use a matching piece of the brown to do the body for the butterfly. Now this pattern is actually supposed to be a 5-inch block. Obviously that is not a 5-inch block. What I did was enlarge it. Now I enlarged by 150%. So it is, I can't remember how big it came out. But yes, I wanted it to be a lot bigger than the 5 inches because I felt that I was going to be pushed for time if I wanted to make lots of them and then stitch them all together to make this bag. When actually, one butterfly is much more dramatic, I believe. So that's what it became. And all I've done is backed the pattern with bright yellow. And I'm really chuffed with this, actually. I didn't put any extra pockets and stuff in it, but I think moving on, I probably will. I've just lined it in a red to match the zipper and obviously the back fabric. There we go, back fabric. And the red wings. But I'm actually interested in making some more of these. And I think we might be putting it on as a class at Beautiful Things. So if you want to come and have a go at paper piecing or paper quilting, I'm not really sure the correct term. I think it's paper piecing. It's not done by hand, it is done by machine, and you quilt straight onto the paper. Sounds scary, right? But it's so simple, and I'm really looking forward to teaching that if that's what it comes to. All I did extra was quilt over the wings and the body of the butterfly, just to make them stand out a little bit more and secure it to the wadding that I put in, because obviously the back is much more heavily quilted. So that is going to be sent off in my gift exchange, and I've also made a little something extra to go with it. And when I say little, I mean little. Okay, so this is what I've made to go with it. It is a stitch marker or a progress keeper. It is a little butterfly. Now I'm not showing the other side because, well, I will show the other side. It's got a badge on the other side, which I made ages ago. But it all matches the theme. So I've just clipped this little one to the same piece of card, so that it can be sent off, and it's got my little logo, but it means that the butterfly covers up the logo when it flops down. But that is going to go off with the bag because my exchange partner is a knitter or crocheter, so that's going to be useful for them. And I like to make sure that my items that I send off in exchanges are useful in some way, and not just things that I find that they might like. I like to make them a little bit more personalised and send them something that they will actually use. Okay, so last one then of my FOs is my broken rainbow frond shawl. Try saying that when you've had a few. It has taken months because I put it on hold so that I could work on my temperature blanket, which I haven't done. I then started working on other projects. Some of them may have been finished, I can't remember. This uses 2 skeins of a Viking yarn in their broken rainbow colourway. It is the frond shawl pattern by Joanne Grace of the Crochet Project. And actually this one I think is a lot bigger. Not a lot bigger, but a little bit bigger than the previous one I did with yarn from All Wool That Ends Wool. And I say that because, oh, I've got thread hanging off of it. There we go. When I wrap it, this sits a little bit lower. Now I've got my hair all tangled up. Let's pull that up. There we go. Yes, it seems to sit a little bit lower. Let's grab the other end. Now I might block it just to see if I can get a little bit more stretch out of it, but look, it's really stretchy, and it's just superwash merino. Where have I put the label for it? There we go. So Viking yarns, hand-dyed yarn. It is super merino DK, which is 100% superwash merino, 100 grams, which is 225 meters, and the colorway is broken rainbow. Now I'm not sure if they still make yarn. I have been able to tag them on Instagram, so who knows? I don't know if I bought these. Yes, I did buy them direct. I bought them on Etsy from them directly, and I've had them in my stash for quite some time. And it's actually nice to just finally get it made up. I love the fact that it's this grey. Let's take it off so you can actually, no, let's just do this. Lovely grey. And then you've got this neon rainbow running between each section of grey dye sections. My terminology is rubbish. Anyway, I really like this pattern. It is super easy to work up. The only difficult bit really is getting these 6 started at the beginning. That's it. Once you've got that, the pattern repeat is 2 rows. And you just repeat over and over and over again. So you start right at the bottom here, go all the way around, and then it just gets longer and longer until you run out of yarn, basically. And the first one I did of these was part of the crochet club that we set up temporarily with Beautiful Things, and we all made one each. And I have since made, this is number 5. So I think it's safe to say I like this pattern, and I like the overall finished look. I think if I was being a little bit picky, I would probably want it to be a little bit longer, so I may have to add an extra half a ball just to give it a few more rows. But other than that, I love it. I wouldn't have made it 5 times if I didn't. So the first one I did, well, as I mentioned before, was in All Wool That Ends Wool yarn, which was in their Spellbound colourway. I then did one in a Karen cake, a green Karen cake for my mum. That was a Christmas present. And then I also did, that didn't take me very long at all actually. That took me about 3 days, that one. On and off for 3 days to make that. Because it was nice and chunky wool, so it's a bit thicker than the DK. And then I also did 2 in a patterns yarn, which was their colour mix yarn. I'm not really sure if there's a colourway for it. I can't find the bands and everything, so it's been a while. And I think I used 5 balls of each because they were only 50 grams, which meant that I needed that little bit more yardage on them. And one was in a blue, one was in a purple, and I think the blue one actually took me 2 days. I think I started it Christmas Eve, and then I finished it on the 28th of December, so I'm not sure if I actually worked on it in between, but I think it took approximately 2 days to do. So they're really quick makes if you've got the time, obviously, to do it continuously. Over Christmas is probably not the best time if you're here, there and everywhere, but obviously it didn't matter, it was made before New Year. So yes, that is my 5th Fronds shawl by Joanne's Grace of the Crochet Project. There's only one more thing to show you, and that is a whip. Because when you finish one project, you need to start a new one, obviously. So I went to my local yarn shop, which is Tangled Up, or the Little Yarn Hut, I think it's also named as. And I saw this picture. Where have I put the magazine? I saw this picture on the front of Crochet Now. Now I think this is issue 52. It's one of the most recent ones, I believe. It's got to have been this year. And I like this grey jumper in the middle. So I found the pattern inside and realised that I don't have to add the pom-poms to it. I'm not sure why you would put pom-poms on a jumper, but there is the original picture. And there is the picture without the pom-poms. So it takes, for my size, which is a medium, it takes 12 balls of King Cole Timeless Chunky. Now I've been really fussy with this and decided that rather than just do it all one colour, I'm going to do it in 4 colours, because that's exactly what you do when you're trying to make your first proper piece of clothing. I mean, this is my first piece of clothing in crochet, but it's a cardigan, it's a giant granny square. This one I actually have to follow instructions. So I have started with grey for the bottom, because it's a bottom up jumper, and that is, it's called Chandelier. So this is the Timeless Chunky. It is super soft. It is 90% acrylic with 10% alpaca, which is 164 yards or 155 meters for 100 grams. Now obviously I've got 12 balls, 3 in the grey, in the Chandelier colour, and I've started of the back piece, and I've actually now just finished the rib. Which way round does it go? This way. Finished the, no, it is that way. Finished the rib, which is actually looking rather long. It's nice and stretchy as well, but it's super soft. And that is just the back piece to start with at the bottom. Now the front works up in the exact same way, which is why I've got 2 balls of grey out. I'm just going to grab the other colours. Right, so the other colours are these 3. So when I went to the store, the grey, the cream and the pink were all next to each other, and I really liked those. There was also a pattern next to them with those exact colours, but then I wanted a 4th, so I chose the purple. Now they're all the same in terms of weight and style and everything. This one is called Mulberry, which is a really nice dusty purple. We've then got Rosebud, which is a dusty pink, and we've got the cream, which is Antique Cream. So those 4 together are going to be my jumper. Now what I'm going to do is go in this order. So grey at the bottom, working through the cream into the Rosebud, and then finally into the Mulberry. Now I need to work out exactly how many stitches and how many rows I need to do. So I need to ask my friend Karen. She's really good at maths and working out knitting and crochet patterns, so she is my go-to for that. But yes, I'm hoping that is going to work up nice and quickly. I mean, I've already done the ribbon for the back. I need to do the ribbon for the front, and then I can work out how much yarn I'm going to have left over, or potentially start the sleeves now and work it all up at the same time, so that it all, would that be the most sensible way to do it? please let me know if you think that is the most sensible way to do it, because not done this before, clearly. But yes, that is all I have for you this month. But it is a damn sight more than February. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so as always, I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe down below. All the information for the classes that I've been doing and the upcoming classes, if there are any, will be in the description below, or if I missed that, then I'll put it in the comments for you. Yes, let me know, have you used the Timeless Chunky before, because it is super squidgy and soft, by King Cole, and let me know if I'm going about this the right way or the wrong way, or if they've got any tips. I need tips, please, on how to get this jumper made appropriately. I'm now going to give you a little film roll, is that right? Picture reel, of some of the pictures that I've taken over February of makes and classes, and I hope you enjoy them. I will see you again soon. Bye.